Big Ten double complete. Indiana starts its quest for its 9th star today against Kentucky right here on the Big Ten Network. Beautiful day in Bloomington, and the Big Ten Network is proud to bring you second-round coverage of the 2019 NCAA Men's Soccer Tournament. It's Kentucky and it's Indiana. As we take a look at the Indiana side of the bracket, you see Kentucky knocked off Loyola Chicago. The winner of this game will face the winner of UC Santa Barbara and St. Mary's. And hello, everybody. Dean Linke, delighted to be with you, and great to be with 2012 national champion from Indiana, Patrick Duty. And Patrick, here goes Indiana as they go for 9 stars, and they're doing it with a ton of freshmen, including in goal, Roman Celentano.
He's been
Cats. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Todd Yeagley and Indiana. They'll go with a 4-2-3-1. For me, A.J. Palazzolo, the heart and soul. He got stitches in the Big Ten tournament, came back out there. His touches in the final against Michigan were magical. A.J. Palazzolo deserves a lot of credit for Indiana's growth with so many youngsters around him. And we already hear it go as they made it to the semifinals. They lost 11 essential starters, no problem. They win the double again, back-to-back years. As you see, Nikola Alexic is your referee, the man in the middle. Indiana 14-2-4, Kentucky 13-4-3. And it is worth reminding everybody that these two teams did play in the regular season. Patrick, they went 110 minutes, and nobody could find the back of the net.
And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a matchup very similar to that first one.
A.J. Palazzolo still with those stitches. Back over to Spencer Glass. Spencer Glass in that game against Maryland played perhaps the best game of his career. It was one of those, as a player, you just want to highlight that one and send it to the pros. And he's limping over there on the far side. Hopefully he's okay. Now he's back in action. There he is. For a second, he actually went beyond the end line, so we'll keep with finesse. Even the Godfather, Jerry Yeagley, said he didn't know he could do all those things.
Yeah, he definitely, it was a complete performance. And we saw kind of snippets of it last year, a little bit this year, but for him to kind of put it all together, all of his talents, and have it be displayed on such a big stage, really cool moment for him and for the team.
There's Aiden Morris, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, as if that was in any doubt. The young man almost won the Big Ten Midfielder of the Year. That's how good he's been this freshman campaign. He is built like a pro, looks like a pro, thinks like a pro, eats, sleeps, drinks, breathes soccer. Inside the 18, Penn. And Penn's another one of those freshmen going into the Big Ten tournament, 5 straight games with either a goal or an assist.
It's not bad. These aren't bad numbers. And it's just funny reading through the names. I mean, there's just so many of them that have had such a big impact.
Common theme in soccer, no matter when it is, but especially in the NCAA tournament, the first goal will be key. In the opening round of the NCAA tournament, those games played on Thursday, the teams that scored first were 12-4.
Yeah. And I don't think there's going to be much of a difference here today across the country.
Spencer Glass, as that's knocked out of bounds over near the Indiana bench. There's Danny O'Rourke. He's ready to play. The only defensive midfielder to win the Mac Hermann Trophy in the history of giving out that hardware. And of course, last year, Andrew Gutman became the first left back to win the Mac Hermann Trophy with forward-like numbers. I joked with him if I have to address him now as Mr. Coach of the Year, and he doesn't want any of that stuff. You know that? Even as one of the best players to ever play at Indiana, he didn't want that kind of recognition. For him, and you know it, Patrick Duty, he was your coach. It's hard to find somebody better at motivating young men.
He's the best. He really is. He gets the most out of you when you put the jersey on for however long you're going to be there. And we see it again with this group. I think personally it's been probably his best him and his staff, they're one of their best coaching performances. Just to reload the way they have with so many new guys and still have the consistency of Indiana being, a mainstay in college soccer.
Well, just so I'm consistent, and I know a lot of you folks that follow Indiana have heard me say these names, but I just feel like you've got to say them again because these names are big-time names. These are names that are playing professionally. This is what this Indiana team that went 8-0 last year, won the Big Ten tournament, and then went on the College Cup. This is what they lost. Trey Muse, Big Ten goalkeeper of the year. Andrew Gutman, Matt Kerman Trophy winner of the year. Tim Bow, he's a pro. Reese Buckmaster, an MLS pro. Frankie Moore could have been a pro. Trevor Schwartz was with Toronto. Corey Thomas, Mr. Clutch. Austin Pancho.
It's insane. I mean, it really is. And those aren't just guys that are playing pro, but those were guys that were, big-time players here in college, obviously, with Gutman kind of leading the pack. But the fact that they've been able to do this is remarkable.
Jack Mayer, the only starter. What a ball in! Oh, and it got away from Penn. Phenomenal service from Becerra. Penn recognized it. Normally, Penn will run that one down. All he needs is a touch.
Oh, wouldn't this have been pretty? And Becerra, wonderful start to the game. That's vision, picks his head up, absolutely drives that ball. And Penn, I think he was thinking about what he was going to do before he actually trapped it.
That play right there for me, Patrick Duty, tells the story of the versatility of this Indiana team. What do I mean by that? Well, you've got Spencer Glass, the left back, and your 9, your center forward, Becerra, had come over. Glass found him. That's your 9 at midfield serving that great ball.
Yes, I mean, it's super interchangeable, and the movement, I think, for the last few weeks with Indiana has been probably the best it's been all year. Just guys popping in different spots. Becerra's off to a really good start, by the way. He had a nice little spin move earlier in the defensive half. He's been connected.
That game against Maryland, you mentioned movement, and the history that Sasho Soroski brought. It was at Ludwig Field. Have you seen an Indiana team pop the ball around the way they did against Maryland in that one?
I mean, that was one of the more complete matches I've seen Indiana play in a while. That was really kind of a dominating performance.
Give Nicholas Neumann credit, the Maryland goalkeeper, though, because it took a penalty kick into overtime for Jack Mayer, who stepped right up and took it. Otherwise, that one may have gone to penalty kicks to decide who was going to face Michigan on Sunday. Speaking of Michigan, we wish them the best of luck today against Wright State. Of course, also the Penn State Nittany Lions will take on Providence. And we mentioned Maryland there in Winston-Salem taking on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. There is a possibility, Patrick Duty, that Michigan and Maryland could meet each other in the Sweet 16 in Ann Arbor.
That would be a fun game to watch.
Good ball over, trying to find Palazzolo, and it's our first real good look in action at Ame Mabika, right in front of Enrique Fakuse. But Mabika, right in front of him at 6'6", is a giant. He was the Conference USA Player of the Year. He was the co-defensive MVP, and he is just a beast.
He's one of those guys that you wouldn't be surprised if, I think we were talking about Coach Calipari maybe reaching out. He's just that big and athletic. And the fact that he can, kind of turn it on as a center back here in soccer, he's something that the IU attack is going to have to deal with a lot today.
He actually told Chris Dorn and me at the regular season game that John Calipari did talk to him and has seen him play. And he also said that he can just do a simple drop, step, and dunk. Yeah.
All right.
He hasn't played a ton of basketball, but you got that move at any time. No surprise that Coach Cal was looking at him. No score 10 minutes into this. Jack Mayer, one bounce. We mentioned the talented Ame Mabika, Conference USA Player of the Year and co-defensive MVP. It's not often that a center back wins Player of the Year for an entire conference.
He's very much like Jack Mayer on the other side, just dominating center backs.
Yeah, well said. Jack Mayer, the Big Ten Defender of the Year, and also named the Defender of the Big Ten Tournament as he kind of wins a double of his own.
Not bad for him. And he's another guy similar to Coach Todd. I don't think he cares too much about that stuff.
No, he's the kind of guy that when you talk to him, when you're finished, you're like, wait, which one of us is almost 50 and which one of us is less than 20 years old? Like, I'm confused here. I mean, the guy is brilliant.
He's so mature. He's really he's a very unique individual, and I know his teammates love playing with him.
2019 Big Ten Defender of the Year. He was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year as Indiana back-to-back Big Ten Freshman of the Year. As always, most awards run through Bloomington in some ways. There's Palazzolo. How about the grit and fight of Palazzolo? As you see Jack Mayer right there. He was big, but A.J. Palazzolo as well. He's got all those stitches. He came back in to finish that game against Maryland and pretty much played almost the entire game against Michigan on Sunday as part of the Big Ten tournament final.
He's so gritty, and you sometimes don't always see that with your most skillful players. He's a guy that can play any position. But the fact that he has the pizzazz and the final pass, but also the grit, it's really impressive.
There's A.J. Palazzolo. It was not a malicious tackle, but he's got several stitches right there above his eye. Toughest part about that play is when he got the stitches, there was some confusion between the referee, and after all of that, there was 2 seconds left in a game where you already said Indiana was buzzing all over, but Maryland had a free kick. And Todd Yeagley, about as cool and calm as you could possibly be, if Maryland somehow scored in those... Perhaps the biggest note missing from that graphic right there is last year, Indiana kind of rolling along. Remember, they went 8-0 in the regular season. They went in to Lexington and walked out of there with a 3-0 defeat. Kentucky rolled them, and Todd Yeagley actually stood up and said, hey, that's on me. That's my fault. I did not have my boys ready as they played across. Palazzolo came in as a defender and slowly started working his way up the field. Was pretty much a sub most of the year last year. Came on against North Carolina, second game of the season after losing to Wake Forest. He scored the winner in overtime off his head, and pretty much ever since then, he's been an attacking type player.
He can do it all. I mean, he really can. I know Coach Yeagley kind of compared him to one of my teammates, Jacob Lucia, but it's just a guy that if you need to slide back, he can. Very good defensive presence, but also has an attacking ability that can be a difference maker in the final third.
The start of this one feels every bit the same as the regular season game, where the game was played mostly shots and no corner kicks yet for either team, which reminds me exactly, particularly of the first half in the regular season, where from a spectator point of view, it lacked a little bit of fire, right? When you go through 45 minutes, you don't have any shots on goal. Palazzolo is onside at the moment. Palazzolo, the flag will stay down. Endley making a run. Now top of the 18 and a foul! And Becerra has made it Indiana 1-0!
I think UK just, their line gets caught up a little high here. Palazzolo is able to get free from this beautiful outside the right foot pass from Morris. And this is really great. I was afraid that he was going to try to squeeze this in the PK spot. Drops it back to Becerra, the trailing run, touch, and that's a brilliant strike on the half volley. This is not an easy play. He gets it on his right foot and then strikes it clean right through it. Nothing the keeper can do, and that's something kind of out of nowhere for Indiana, but an awesome start. Great little celebration. IU up 1-0.
Victor Becerra, 6th goal of the season, and this young man now leads Indiana in points with 15. You see all kinds of balance. You don't see a Will Bruin or an Eric Zavaleta with a ton of numbers. You just see everybody, mostly freshmen, scoring the goals for Indiana.
That was such a great finish. I mean, it really was. I'm sure we'll see it, several times throughout the rest of the match. But the fact that he's able to bring that, I believe he touched it with his left foot, and gets it over to his right. And Coach Todd Yeagley talked about one thing with him: his quick release, and that's exactly what that was. That thing bounced, and he just struck right through it. And from that close with that pace, there's nothing the defender can do.
A.J. Palazzolo, we were already talking about what he means to this team. A brilliant pass from Palazzolo. Just finds himself in the right place at the right time, and it's 1-0 Indiana. Right when we're talking about the fact there's no shots, no corner kicks, seconds later, Indiana's got a 1-0 lead, and Endley making a long run. It goes out of bounds.
Endley so good at trying to get that burst of speed. Good defending there by Blasu.
So now Kentucky down a goal, and Indiana has built up so much depth this season. Part of it because players weren't healthy initially, as Palazzolo is going to come out, well-earned break, and Yoris Olinvi is going to come into the game. As Olinvi, the transfer from FIU, where he was the two-time All-Conference USA player.
Yeah, and there we see it. I believe it was a screen that kept him on. But Palazzolo right here, Endley's making that run in the box. A lot of people try to force it. Becerra has a willingness to keep his run going. And the fact that Palazzolo picks his head up and knows to not only jam that towards the goalkeeper, but drop it back. It's just a really great play, and it speaks a lot to him and what we said about his final pass decision-making.
You saw that wink right there, too, didn't you? He knows it. Great touch, and it was Aiden Morris who had the pass into space that Palazzolo could run down. And Patrick Duty, phenomenal breakdown. You're right. 7 out of 10 players are thinking Endley because he's just outside the 6. Palazzolo's thinking who's open. He hit the man who's open, and Becerra finished.
It's a beautiful play, and that's something that they practice all of the time. But the fact that you're able to do it in the match, and credit to Endley, because he knows that there's a good chance I'm not going to get this ball, but I have it.
Referee had a good look at it. And both teams have moved on with Indiana with the 1-0 lead thanks to the goal from Becerra. We started last weekend. Becerra was sending bazookas all over the place. They weren't on frame. That was a quality finish by number 7.
That really was.
There's Morris from Becerra. Becerra's got to turn back around. Rare turnover from Aiden Morris. His passing efficiency is pretty phenomenal. Look at him. He'll win it right back. Morris. We mentioned the engines of Kentucky's midfield, but is there a bigger engine than Aiden Morris out there?
For me, no. I mean, he is going to be buzzing this entire match. You'll see him in both boxes. You'll see him outside. See him create with the outside of his right foot pass that was through to Palazzolo.
He had 21 of 40 clean sheets for this Kentucky team over the last few years. That's a whole lot of shutouts. Turning with a Becerra. Good.
It looked like he got his shoulder into his chest maybe a little bit. Good little ball from Becerra. But Bika does a good job getting his body there. It's really good defending. He's had 2 nice plays here. Hopefully he's okay. But the block off the shoulder and then that shielding it. This goes 2-0 before half, and Kentucky's going to be in a really tough spot. Maybe an ankle sprain. No, here's the contact right there. Maybe his left foot.
No, it did look like his left foot, as Ward fell on it, got turned just a little bit.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was. All right, hope he's okay. He does a good job getting his arm across War, and then here you'll see War's kind of back.
So his left ankle just turned just a little bit.
With the weight coming down from War.
Meinzer pops it in the air. Look at Morris. Glass will switch it on a dime. There's Penn. Penn looking for options. Morris first time's it. Waver across. Becerra with a brace. Victor Becerra. Indiana 2-0.
mean, this legitimately could have been the best goal of the season. Glass with the big direct ball. This is a great pass from Morris. One time, perfectly weighted. Waiver, good ball across. And then Becerra getting across his defender. A little flick with his right foot. And it's that close. You can't do anything about it. But right now, Becerra is just clashing towards the front post. Gets just enough on it. Maybe a little deflection. What a complete team goal from Indiana right there.
First career multi-goal game for Victor Becerra. A.J. Palazzolo, who gave him a hug right there, assisted on the first one. Becerra gets two and now gets a chance to rest, which gives you a pretty good idea of how Indiana is set up. We're not kidding when we talk about, it's about three things: win the Big Ten regular season, win the Big Ten tournament, and win that ninth star. The last 2 years, Indiana's so close to getting that star. 2 years ago, they lose in the final to Stanford. Last year, they lose in the semifinal to Maryland. You think, no way they can do it again, but yes way, they can do it again.
It's been an outstanding start to this little next run that they have. As there we see the 8 stars, and I was wondering, thinking about that. So last year they returned so many of those guys from the year before when they lost. This year with so many new players.
Steve, through 45 though, Victor Becerra not 1 but 2 goals. It's Indiana 2, Kentucky 0.
It started off, I think, pretty even, and then Indiana kind of out of nowhere with a great first goal. Him in particular, 2 for 2 with finishes, great movement, and an awesome start for Indiana.
Todd Yeagley, the 10-year top man, back-to-back Big Ten Coach of the Year. And you now have a new leading goal scorer as Victor Becerra leads your team. 2 great goals, excellent passes as well. Talk about the first half, Coach.
First half, I thought the finishes were excellent. Good lead-ups to the goals, good execution with Vic. Pleased with the first half. I thought we really frustrated them and getting any rhythm. I really thought their best chances really came from giveaways, which we have to be cleaner. But I thought we were tough, we were decisive. I thought we found the spaces well in the match. Another 45 of that, and we'll be in good shape.
Coach, what's the message to the boys at half? Obviously, kind of a close goal there for Kentucky at the end.
Nearly 500,000 NCAA students.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be smart. I mean, they're pressing pretty well with the front 6, and I like us being able to move them around and find spaces either in the high seam or wide. We got to play past the pressure sometimes, then get in the front half and maybe rotate a little bit. So again, just finding the moments that we can build through. But their pressure's pretty good, so we just got to be smart. Make sure we don't give them anything. The surface is a little slippery today, so we don't want to put ourselves in any harm's way.
Todd, great to be with you. Good luck the second half. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Victor Becerra, the freshman, with his right foot with the first goal in the celebration, but he wasn't done. Waiver finds him, and Becerra's got a brace. Indiana 2, Kentucky 0. NCAA second-round action. NCAA men's soccer second-round action on the Big Ten Network. Indiana with a 2-0 lead over Kentucky, led by their outstanding coach, Johan Sedergren. And Johan, right there, 6 shots, 5 on goal for Indiana.
It was a complete attacking half, and it kind of all happened out of nowhere. But the shots on goal, that's what's so important, and that's how you get your corner kicks, too.
All right, and we are underway. Second half action. The 2019 second round NCAA men's soccer tournament. So pleased to be with you all on the Big Ten Network alongside Patrick Duty, who made some great runs on this field. I'm Dean Linke. The winner will face the winner of St. Mary's and UC Santa Barbara. Morris with a quick shot right out of halftime, looking like they did in the first half.
I mean, they don't stop it. Becerra, again, with the fancy footwork. Great combination play that leads to a strike from Morris. It's just been every single time they've been in the box. The passing has been extremely sharp.
Chase Wildman and John Oldroyd. Becerra back in there. Victor Becerra. Olinvi, what a ball! For Kusei, Olinvi, the goal is still open. Olinvi, knocked away on the line. A defender tracking back as Fakuse was in nowhere land. Olinvi pulled it back on a string, and now Fakuse is there. Oh, it is still alive. Penn rips it away from Fakuse and finally cleared by Kentucky.
That was pretty wild. This was a wonderful pass from Becerra. He's just able to get away here. And I would love to know who was able to track back, because this is a wonderful job by Kentucky. As soon as your goalkeeper's out, you go back in line, and that saves the match right there from that standpoint. Tracking back. Courageous play.
Yeah, knocked away there by Bailey Rouse, the junior. Enrique Fakuse in nowhere land, but he'll certainly buy a stake there if they can pull back in this game for Bailey Rouse, saving the day to keep it at 2-0.
I mean, it would have been done. It was a brilliant play from Rouse, understanding what was going on. Goalkeeper's out. You have to track back, and this is such a good play.
Wow. Can hear the clearance.
Oh, man. Hey, if that's not going to get you going as a Kentucky.
2-0, Indiana on top. 2 goals from the freshman. Victor Becerra from Chicago, Illinois, Jones College Prep. During your time with the Chicago Fire, did you see Becerra around at all with any of the academy teams?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he'd be around, and I know recently he's been up there with the first team getting some sessions in as well.
Chicago Fire also has Jeremiah Gutyar. Lillard has been traded, I believe, to Nashville. Now, speaking of changes, it's Chicago Fire FC officially, and they'll return to Soldier Field next year. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. I mean, I really am. I think it's going to be a good kind of new change for the club. Obviously, having the ability to play at Indiana and then play there, it was a dream come true. And I know a lot of these Hoosiers are in a similar spot. So I think it'll just be good, kind of a new look, new taste for Fire fans.
With 2, Kentucky still searching for their first score. Meinzer whistled. A.J. Palazzolo, does he earn a whistle? He's looking right at the assistant referee and doesn't get it. Palazzolo thought his shoulder. Klein in for Muni. We hope Muni's okay, and for sure we also hope Mabika, Conference USA Player of the Year and co-defensive MVP, who went out, came back in, and then went out again and has not been seen since.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think his day is probably done. Good from Becerra there, tracking back, 2 goals. Don't always see that out of the striker.
Becerra will go off of Victor Becerra, throw in for Kentucky. Becerra thought it was off Kentucky. Good work here now.
Presence in the box.
1 in the middle. Inez. Of the Loyola Chicago game, as we said earlier, Aitor Jorgolfsson from Norway.
That was a pep talk right there. I mean, that's what that was. That was one of the leaders going to another one saying, hey, we got 30 minutes, let's get this done. And I'm expecting to see red in Aitor's eyes when he gets in here. That's just kind of the way he plays.
Schmidt wins it. Becerra. He's got Penn. Becerra. Oh, my! Go ahead and have a hat trick. Victor Becerra has 3.
That is just remarkable. Here he is going kind of baiting him in, and then just an absolute laser of a shot. Oh my God. The quick release. I mean, you got to have so much confidence to do this. He's unable to get everything on it on the keeper side thing, but what a finish from Becerra.
It's a bazooka from Becerra. He's got 3. And Victor Becerra.
You could see the reaction by his teammates, too, just kind of like, whoa. You know, I'm sure they've seen this a lot, but to do it at this big of a moment of the season, that was truly special.
Here's a guy who was playing so great, but when you bring in the two-time Conference USA first-timer, scored all those goals, All-American, semifinalist, Joris Olinvi, when he has to sit out those games, when it's time for him to come back, Becerra kind of had to take a back seat for a moment, but he kept showing up, and he earned the starts in the Big Ten tournament, and he's certainly earning starts in the NCAA tournament.
What an awesome match for him, and I just can't get over that third goal. Coach Yeagley had talked about that quick release, but the fact that he's able to just take a couple little touches, bait him in, and then in his head, him thinking that he has the green light to strike from there, not a lot of guys in the country can do that.
The heat check, and here comes the Becerra bazooka.
Bait. Just a laser of a shot off the crossbar and in. Hat trick. So cool.
First hat trick since your teammate Nikita Kotlov did it in 2012 against Xavier. You were there for that one, and you called it, Patrick Duty. You knew Kentucky was going to be tough. As you see, you went on to win that national championship in 2012. But they played on Thursday, and they had to come from behind in overtime. That's going to hurt you. In Indiana, they're buzzing. Here's Morris as Schmidt goes down. Referee plays advantage. Morris stays with it. Morris, why not give it to Becerra? Becerra, you going to shoot again down near the goal line. Did he earn a corner kick? He did. Corner kick, Indiana. Thumbs up indeed.
Does he have four of them? I think so. Man, this rate. And that one's a blow to Kentucky because they're close to making it 2-1. And really, that shot, it's just one of those where you tip the cap because you can't really defend it much better. It's just a total blow to them. 3-0, it's going to be really tough for them to get back in this.
Morris curling it in. You hear the bench saying AJ is, they thought maybe it would find AJ. Jack Mayer hustles over. Jack Mayer, the Big Ten Defender of the Year, will leave it for waiver. It's been the Victor Becerra show, though, make no mistake about it. 3 goals, and it's 3-0, Indiana on top of Kentucky. Aitor can't do anything with it. Palazzolo gets it back. AJ Palazzolo, he was looking for Becerra, believe it or not. Penn got in the way. He was looking for number 7.
He was. It was similar to the first goal with that drop back kind of pass. Unfortunate to hit his teammate Penn in the back. But just that little, I mean, it's just fun to watch right now. They're so confident. They're all moving off the ball. The ticky-tock passes are on the box. Accuracy's been great.
See the shots, the corners. Kentucky still not able to find a corner. Olinvi, side of the foot, Palazzolo. Those are the plays that don't show up in the stat machine, but they're special plays, special touches. Sometimes they're awkward looking. So now you'll see Todd Yeagley go pretty deep here, which will be a special treat in the NCAA tournament. If he can go 17, 18, 19 deep, get players that may not get another sniff in the NCAA tournament a little run.
That goes 2 ways. One, you're getting, your regulars time, which is great. But 2, what you just hit on, the fact that guys that they're.
And then we also could see Capsalis, right, which is an incredible story. He actually scored a goal this year. And, of course, Whitey Capsalis, pretty famous story for Indiana. Trey Capsalis is the redshirt freshman from Fishers, Indiana, Cathedral High School, that scored a goal this year in one of the blowouts for Indiana as they beat. Now, the last Indiana player with 4 goals is Ken Snow, who is still the all-time leading goal scorer. He had 4 against Harvard back in 1989.
Becerra getting a nice hand, well deserved.
IU fans loving it here at Armstrong Stadium, Yeagley Field. Victor Becerra, third Hoosier to score a hat trick in NCAA tournament history. There's Sean Caulfield. Good to see him. He did not go to College Park after suffering concussion-like symptoms. And the Fox Sports app. Victor Becerra, AJ Palazzolo, 2 of the special players in this 3-0 lead right now for Indiana.
Some well-deserved rest, and it would be, Becerra, what a day for him to reflect on. Just such a big moment, and he's hitting stride at the exact right time for Indiana.
Bali trying to run it down. Not 1, not 2, but 3 special goals.
He was on fire, and it started off with this beautiful strike off the half volley, just an absolute laser. And that was the first glimpse we saw of the quick release. Then we see it there, a classic forward finish, running across his defender in front space. And this, Golasso, wonder strike to the back post, as you call it, the bazooka from Becerra, off the bar and in. And that just, that's icing on the cake for a perfect day from that striker.
All 3 goals. Play that game Thursday. Indiana sits back. Extra days of preparation. Extra days to get everybody healthy. Extra days to get the bazooka warm. And it's 3-0 Indiana.
It's just so hard to pull off for these teams coming in. And I think Kentucky, they started out well, and then they gave up the goal, and it kind of was done then.
As that goes to Celentano, he'll grab it. USA Player of the Year, Mabika.
Yeah, and he went down here on a great shielded play, and unfortunately,
you got to go back to 2004 to find an Indiana freshman that had a hat trick. All the way back to 2004. Nikola Leksik. Victor Becerra adds his name to that list. A freshman with a hat trick, and he does it in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Led the nation with 14 shutouts. Watch this.
Morris just strips him clean. And then right away has the instincts to clip it, knowing that he's out of bounds. Seriously, Becerra. He's like, you're not ready yet for this moment.
He's talking about the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. That's funny. Victor Becerra, freshman on his own right with 3 goals. Kentucky looking for 1 in the final minute, but for sure, it's been the story of that young man, Victor Becerra, freshman sensation, Chicago, Illinois, part of Chicago Fire FC, Jones College Prep, ready for the moment, his first NCAA tournament game, and he gets 3.
Awesome day for him, something that he'll always remember, and just from the very start, the Q for 9 is officially underway, with IU having a dominating performance, really, against Kentucky here today.
Pep band saluting this fantastic Indiana team. They lost 11 essential starters, no problem. Regular season check. Big Ten tournament title check. And now they're in the Sweet 16 thanks to 3 goals from Victor Becerra. Your final score, Indiana 3, Kentucky 0.
It's going to be exciting to see what happens, across the bracket. Certainly, I know Indiana will be, waiting to see who they'll be playing. And for them, though, like you had mentioned earlier, either one of those schools are coming across the country. So Indiana has a week home, Thanksgiving, Tudor Room Turkey
is about Victor Becerra. And there he is, the freshman from Chicago. Saw his reaction when Morris thought he was going to make it 4-0. Speaking of freshmen, Roman Celentano, Endley, Victor Becerra. We're going to take a look at all 3 goals right now.
This is my favorite of them all. Just the fact that he's able to get that touch and then crush it right on the down bounce. Obviously, we saw the great pass. And then Waver coming, does a good job finding a near post. Becerra gets across. And then the Golasso, just a wonderful strike back stick.
The bazooka from Becerra. And it's 3 goals comes for Victor Becerra, who's kind enough to join us now. And we've been waiting for that bazooka from Becerra. You finished it off 3 goals in this game. Victor, talk about how you're feeling right now. Really special game, young man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it was a great effort from the group. I thought this was the best game that we've had so far, collectively, defensively, attacking. It was a great performance from the whole team.
Victor, the third one, we got to ask, how soon did you know you were about to let it fly?
As soon as Joe gave me the ball on that side, I knew that I liked to cut in and find the back post, and it was just good execution from there.
Talk about the cohesion with this team. A lot of youngsters mixed in with some quality veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the veterans have taken us under their arms, and us freshmen are very lucky to have these guys to be our leaders. And I mean, it's been great. Our freshman class are something special, and I feel like we've become like a family almost, especially the freshman group.
I think the Becerra bazooka might stick. Go enjoy it with your teammates. Good luck next weekend, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Victor Becerra, what a fine young man. As we take a look at the bracket, Indiana awaiting the winner of UC Santa Barbara and St. Mary's. Another trip to the Sweet 16.
They get to celebrate Thanksgiving in Bloomington, always a good thing, and they'll be tuned in to see who they'll be playing next week in the big Sweet 16 matchup.
Congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers. Don't forget at 2:30, it's Big Ten volleyball, Nebraska and Wisconsin. The story today, though, this young man, Victor Becerra, the hat trick for the freshman. And Indiana is moving on for Russ Leonard and our great crew. Steve Shunker on stats. My national champion, Patrick Duty. I'm Dean Linke. Delighted to be with you on the Big Ten Network for bonus coverage of NCAA soccer. Your final score, Indiana 3, Kentucky 0. The Sweet 16 awaits the Hoosiers.